Hi, my name is Christopher Kelby, and in this video I will show you how I have used the authoring and management API in Sitecore 10.3 to create a custom Sitecore job viewer. If you want to read more about my custom Sitecore job viewer, you can read about it on my blog. The URL is here. And if you want to download the source code for my job viewer, you can find it on my Github. As you probably know, Sitecore already have a built-in job viewer. The job viewer in Sitecore is located under Control Panel, under Administration, and finally under Job Viewer. So using the job viewer, we can inspect running jobs and finished jobs, and we can set an interval with which the job viewer is refreshed. So my job viewer is a standalone WinForm application. I'm attaching and detaching to a Sitecore server using the detach and attach button up here in the corner. And I also have a username and password box here used for authorization. When I'm attached to a Sitecore server, I can show the number of running jobs up here. I can also show this graph of running and finished jobs. And finally, I show a list of jobs here, just like in the Sitecore job viewer. My custom Sitecore job viewer is a pretty standard WinForm application. I'm using two different services to interact with Sitecore. First, I'm using an access token service here to obtain an access token from the Sitecore identity server. I'm using the password credential flow and a client ID and a client secret I have configured in the Sitecore identity server. With that in place, I'm able to authorize a user using that user's username and password. When I get an access token, I can call the authoring and management API, and I do that in my GraphQL service, which you can see here. I have a query that I pass on to the API, and you can see the query it's here. With that in place, I'm able to get a list of jobs from Sitecore, and I'm simply entering into a main loop where I do this repeatedly and update the graphs. To make the job viewer work, there's a few changes we need to apply. I will be attaching to my local Sitecore installation, but of course you can also attach to a remote Sitecore server. On the Sitecore content management server, we need to enable the GraphQL endpoint. This can be done with a configuration file as shown here. You will only need the first setting. The second setting will enable the playground UI where you can test out your GraphQL queries, and of course should not be enabled on a production environment. In the Sitecore identity server, we need to register our client. You can see that I have created an XML file under configuration called Sitecore Identity Server Job Viewer. Within it, I'm registering a job viewer client with the client name Sitecore Job Viewer Client and a password called MySecretPassword. You can see that I'm allowing the grant type password. This will allow my Sitecore Job Viewer client to authorize using a username and password. With these settings in place, we're ready to start using the Sitecore job viewer. In the app config of the Sitecore job viewer WinForm application, you can see that I have to set up my server, the Sitecore CM server, and the identity server. I also have to apply the client ID and client secret that I configured in the Sitecore identity server. You will find a more in-depth run-through of my custom Sitecore job viewer on my blog. The URL again is here. Thank you very much for watching this video.